The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Markets Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks for kicking off your trading week right here with me on the Morning Market Kickoff. And we start things off with the market slightly in red. S&P's negative by about 1/3%, trading right at 6,900 as we speak, off 22 points, off 0.3%. You were as low as about 68.70 overnight. It was right out of the gate, man. Futures open last night, almost unchanged. You accelerate lower, you catch a bid, and right now we're slightly in the red, off 0.3. NASDAQ 100, you're off by 0.5%, 125 points in the red, 24,940. You got the Dow off 0.4% right now, 49,483, and the Russell off by about 0.5%. Bitcoin under pressure overnight. How about that acceleration? Sunday evening, 64,325. Bitcoin off by $1,500, trading at 66,290. And yeah, we're a couple $1,000s off those lows last night in Bitcoin. Crude, no easing in the tensions just yet. We just hit $67 as I was getting ready to come on the air. We're trading right now up 42 pennies at 66.89 right now for crude. We jump over to notes and bonds. The 10-year right now, a little bit of higher price, lower yield. You're looking at a 10-year right now. We were at 4.07. Let's see if we're still there. No, we're at 4.06 now. As we got higher price, lower yield, the 10-year up by 5 ticks at 113.01, 4.06 right now on that 10-year. And the dollar, 97.64. The dollar continuing to chop up against that 98 area. That 98 area had been an area that was support going back to almost, the lows of April. And that area has turned into a little bit of resistance now. Okay, you got the lows out there from late last year. You have the highs from February 2nd, that high, 97,986. You hit a high almost right there, just over 98 right now. 97.63 right now for the dollar. And we jump over to metals. We're catching a bid yet again. Golds, we were up more than $100 in the overnight session. We put it on a 5-minute right out of the gate. In terms of Sunday night, you were up to almost $5,200. Gold up $90 or 1.8% at $51.71. You jump over to silver, up almost 5%, up $4, $3.95 to be exact, 86.29 for silver. Let's take a look at the dailies in this market. Now, you look at the futures, folks. Let's take this off just for some clarity here. Okay. It just keeps being less volume. You got that spike lower. Now, you had a little bit of an uptick, okay, on Friday action. We had a short trading week last week. Silver trades higher on Friday, 55,000 contracts, okay, but you're coming into 85,000 contracts. You're coming into 160,000 contracts on the downside. We take a look at silver on a weekly. Same deal, right? 210,000 contracts all last week. It was a short trading week. Okay, but even if you average that out over 5 trading days, you're talking about 265,000 is what the number would be if you did 5 days. Still one of the lightest weeks on record in silver, folks. And guess what? It gets even a little more almost pronounced in gold. Golds. Now, all I was talking about was 620,000 contracts the week of February 9th. Now, that 620,000 contracts 2 weeks ago, the lightest volume week we have going back almost for years, okay, if you don't count holiday weeks. Now, if you just average out the volume we did last week, you're almost less volume. We did less volume per day last week than we did in the full week, the week of February 9th. So that is lighter volume, folks. Even for a short trading week, that's lighter volume. Okay, you're talking about, if you average that out, about 116,000 contracts a day over 4 days. You add that to the 416, you're not even at 600,000 contracts. So again, a very light week to the upside in those markets. Now, you look at the metals, okay, not as pronounced. You take a look at the GDX, right? Light volume, but nothing near record lows when you look at that, okay? You take a look at the SLV, same deal, light volume, but not record light volume, Okay, but the metals, the contracts themselves, very thin volume in that market. Now, I put out a new issue of the gold report this morning, folks. We do got a buy in there. Okay, we got some action. Some of the metals out there, get some stops in there. We got volatility, and I imagine that the volatility is going to continue in this market right now. But nonetheless, we got metals in higher prices to kick off the trading week. Now, we got NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. That'll be an important one. Okay, NVIDIA, you're about $1 higher in the pre-market. There's your acceleration on NVIDIA. You gap lower. We're trading at 190.85 right now. We take a look at NVIDIA, so they'll be out with their numbers. And how about this consolidation, man? Okay, you're talking about a consolidation pushing the better part since August, folks. August, September, October, November, December, and then January, February. 7 months. That's a daily. You take a look at the weekly. And there it is. Now, we got some selling here. Last week, you accelerate on lighter volume, but still a decent week over 4 trading days. You do 632 million. Okay, if you'd average that out over about 5 days, it was a decent volume, but not as much as the last couple of weeks, but decent volume. Okay, and we are pushing right now the top portion of that consolidation coming into earnings with NVIDIA pushing 190.86. And what's remarkable is the hyperscalers are under pressure. Okay, the CapEx is pretty remarkable that they're going to be spending. And of course, the circular nature of some of the investments that NVIDIA, if they're having problems, right, well, then NVIDIA is going to be the ones that could eventually, but guess what? Not in the short term. Okay, in the short term, the problem is that they're worried that those hyperscalers are spending too much money, and every time they're going to be spending it on NVIDIA chips. So we'll see. NVIDIA going to be $1 higher on the open this morning. All right, and we got enough fundamental news going on this morning. We'll kick it off with tariffs. And yeah, we got unknowns, right? And the market does not like unknown variables, folks. Okay, it likes to be able to price in expected results and the probabilities of those expected results. And yeah, there's a little bit of unknown right now when you have the president's tariffs overturned by the Supreme Court. And you have the EU set to halt the U.S. trade deal approval over that Trump tariff risk. Okay, the EU is poised to freeze the ratification process of its trade deal with the U.S. and seeking more details on the new tariff program. And yeah, so the main political group's going to suspend legislative work on that trade deal. EU lawmakers have been aiming to ratify that next month, but the trade deal has already faced a rocky path to ratification due to various issues like metal tariffs and Greenland. And now where do we go from here? And yeah, the EU, the biggest poor source of imports, 303 billion. That is 20% of our U.S. imports in the EU. And boy, Mexico, my goodness. Yeah, the Mexico tourism industry. Find a new job if you're in that industry right now, folks. I mean, not even joking. This is like a scene out of a movie, man. You got a drug lord getting killed. You have the cartels plowing into tourist cities, and El Mencho was that boss and one of the fastest growing criminal networks in Mexico with fentanyl, meth, cocaine, and he was killed in a shootout. They're gonna make another version of Narcos about this one, man. How about that next season of Narcos coming up? We all ready? It's a great show, folks. You haven't checked it out. Narcos on Netflix. Whew. And El Chapo. I watched that one a while back as well. All right, markets. We're getting a little bid. S&P's at 69.05 off 17 points. We're coming right back, folks. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento. A pro's pro with over 50 years of experience, Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps down by 20 points right now, trading at 69.03, but we are well off the market lows that we had, pre-market lows, that is, overnight. You're down at 68.67, so S&P is almost 40 points off that price level. I was up last night working on the gold report, getting it ready for this morning, and yeah, I was saying, not but woof. Talk about a give back of Friday's action. We're going to see. Get ready for it, folks. We've had a two-way market in this market. I imagine that's not going to end just yet, and when I say two-way market, okay, you look at this S&P, there's your tariff volatility on Tuesday. I mean, each day we're getting huge intraday swings. Thursday was a bit calm, but outside of that, today we're kicking things off down by 20 points right now. Now, as I mentioned, we get NVIDIA earnings this week. We take a look at some of the tech stocks. You got Amazon shares. They are trading lower right now. What's hitting them? Yeah, something's in them. All right, Wells Fargo, a slight adjustment. Yeah, nonetheless, you got a little bit of trade lower there on Amazon. Amazon's going to be down $4 on the open. Now, that was quite an acceleration last week on the tariff euphoria. All right, Tuesday, you had Amazon coming into that tariff news at 197. You're trading at 207 right now, but a little bit of a give back this morning as the market tries to figure out what's going to happen with these tariffs and what's going to happen with the refunds as we go forward. And guess what? We don't know just yet. You just don't know. And yeah, Mexico. Whew. Now the airlines, just tying it back, they have shut down. And just, I couldn't believe, I was away on Saturday night just in Orlando. And so I hadn't really been following it. was out of touch. Thankfully, took a little time away from my phone to get away from the news. The one thing in this business, folks, when you're a trader, right, you got to stay tuned with the news. I often say to people, man, I wish I didn't have to follow everything so meticulously. Not have to. I enjoy it. I love this, man. I love it. But part of the job is you have to be in tune with everything that's going on with Washington, right? Everything that's going on there. You want to trade technically, you don't, okay? And that's the real deal. I like knowing the fundamental backdrop of what's going on as well. And it was kind of nice to detach for a nice 24-hour period with an Olympic gold medal in hockey in the mix of there, right? We'll talk about that. Quite a game. But yeah, so I hadn't seen it, man. Then you see those visuals. And as I mentioned, this is straight out of Narcos, man. Those producers, you know they're getting ready for the next season of Narcos right now. This is a whole season upon itself, and it is not a joke. But boy, so yeah, you have the airlines shutting down flights going into Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and Guadalajara. Yeah, breaking out in those airports, literally. Seeing some of those. So, saying some prayers for anybody out there in Mexico, U.S., wherever you are, some of those cities at this time. But boy. And yeah, Duffy. I went to Cancun, folks. Cancun, Mexico. I've been to Mexico, I think, a couple times. I went for a cruise as well in my 20s. But was it freshman year? No, sophomore year. Sophomore spring breaks. What am I? About 19, you get it? 19, 20 years old, 20 years old. I don't think I was quite 21 yet. That does not matter in Mexico. And, Duffy says in the den, 1970, so I would have been there in 1999 about, maybe 2000. And you had to pay bail to get my roommate out of jail, set up for blackmail. Yeah, it is lawlessness. I'll tell you, folks. So we have a spring break trip, right? College trip, one of these trips, right? You book the trip. There's all like 6 of your buddies. You're on some type of charter trip. They bring you there, the hotel, all that stuff. It's an all-inclusive going on. And I remember back then, and the guy was saying, listen, if anything happens, it's like our tour guide on the bus. They're handing out Coronas on the bus for spring break Cancun. And he says, always make sure you have United States money on you. If anything happens, just make sure you have United States money on you, and you can almost give it to any cop for anything that you're doing within reason, he says, okay? And they will let you go. But make sure you have United States cash on you at all times, and you'll be okay as long as you're not doing anything too out of control. You're here on spring break. Have a good time. Don't do anything too crazy, and you'll be fine. That was the message when we got there. Hey, aside. Yeah, carry that roll of tens. Exactly, Duffy, right? Whew, but Mexico, unbelievable. Okay, these weight loss drugs, man. Every day I get up and there's another article. So check it out. This morning, Lilly. So they're going to talk about a once-a-month pen. So Lilly launches a new form of Zepbound with a month's worth of the dose in one pen. Now what's interesting here is, in looking this up and just learning about it, I believe this has a half-life of about 5 days. So I just saw this getting ready for the program, and I wonder how this is going to work, because it is weekly shots usually, but now they're going to have a monthly shot. Now this weekly one's been available since 2023, but in a release they said that the FDA approved to include a multi-dose device. So we'll see how that works, but you got Lilly trading higher on that news, and there's a couple things going on there, because not only that, there's Lilly. Now, they have the monthly one, but also what happened here is you had Novo come out with their new drug. Check this out. It's amazing, man. These drugs every single day. Look at this. Novo's going to be down, what? Almost $8, 17%. Okay, and the Novo deal, check this out. You talk about expectations, man. This whole industry to compete, check this out. So Novo's trading lower after they have their experimental obesity drug failed to beat Lilly in an 84-week trial. 84 weeks, man. Okay, over a year and a half trial. This is the drug, Cacrasima, missed the trial's primary goal of showing a non-inferior weight loss to Lilly. Imagine, this is not about showing efficacy. You just can't show efficacy anymore. You have to be best in class. And right now, okay, Lilly is best in class. And if you're second, you're nothing. Why would anybody want anything? Now, yes, there's going to be generics. There's going to be just price competition. Okay, Wegovy's much cheaper than Zepbound right now because it's not as good. Now, you can take a pill for Wegovy, which is why they're trying to compete. But check it out. It is remarkable how much weight people lost on this drug. And the stock is tanking because if you ain't best, you're nothing. People treated with this drug from Novo, the experimental one, which is having the stock tank this morning, okay? And I would imagine that the Lilly reaction is more to this competition than it is to the fact they released a once a month shot. People still lost almost a quarter of their weight in a year and a half. Yeah, almost a quarter of their weight in a year and a half. 23% of their weight they lost in a year and a half. But guess what? Nope. Zepbound, almost 26%. So we'll see you later, folks. Now, Novo's going to open at $40, okay? You're breaking everything here. And they're in trouble. That's it. If they can't compete, that's it. They're about to lose patent protection in Canada and China, and they can't compete. Yeah, it's a winner-take-all. Why would you take anything but the best drug out there, right? And boy, pretty remarkable. All right, S&P's off by 16. We'll come right back, folks.
It's like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got equities open, and we have the market clawing back those overnight losses. Look at this. S&P's negative by just 7 points now, and yeah, you're a solid 50 points off of the lows of last night, above where we were between 5,000 and 8:30 this morning, and we're off by single digits. NASDAQ off by just 33. The Dow off by 111 right now. The Russell, leader in the red right now, off by about 0.5%. We jump over to metals. Gold, resuming an uptrend with the market right now, up $108. We jump over to silver, up more than 5% right now. Some of those silver stocks, you get Hecla up by 2.6% right now. Endeavor up by 1% right now. Look at this market. S&P's off by 1. You jump over the VIX right now, volatility index 1965. All right, and one part I found, I posted this in the Tiger's Den for the tariffs, and this is from the Gorsuch opinion for the tariffs, and, everything's political, everyone's fired up, and the Supreme Court's aware of that, okay? And I just found this one particularly insightful when you're talking about a Trump Supreme Court nominee, okay? And he's speaking to, when you're talking about, for those that are disappointed, right? For those of you that think that it's important for the nation to impose the tariffs, and you can disagree with this, folks, but it's important to hear it, I think. He makes a great point that I do agree with, okay? All I can offer to them, and this is saying, if you think that this was a disappointment, okay, is that most major decisions affecting the rights and responsibilities of the people go through the legislative process for a reason. Now, I'm not going to add anything into this, okay? I'm just going to read it. Yes, legislating can be hard and take time. And yes, it can be tempting to bypass Congress when some pressing problem arises. But the deliberative nature of the legislative process was the whole point of its design. Through that process, the nation can tap the combined wisdom of the people's elected reps, not just that of one faction or man. There, deliberation tempers impulse, and compromise hammers disagreements into workable solutions. And because laws must earn such broad support to survive the legislative process they tend to endure, allowing ordinary people to plan their lives in ways they cannot when the rules shift from day to day. In all, the legislative process helps ensure each of us has a stake in the laws that govern us and in the nation's future. For some today, the weight of those virtues is apparent. For others, it may not seem so obvious. But if history's any guide, the tables will turn, and the day will come when those disappointed by today's result will appreciate the legislative process for the bulwark of liberty it is. And, when you think about what you want government to be, right? What I encourage you to do, and we all know this, okay? I'm not speaking to you like you don't, folks, okay? But I struggle with this type of power with the president, as the Supreme Court did, when you think about the worst person you can imagine. Politics are so heated, right? You got Biden and Trump. Trump still spends his time in public appearances slamming Biden, okay? And he loves it. And his supporters cheer for him for it, okay? And so would you really want that control for every person you have in there? Because we've seen how it's going Trump. It's going Biden. It's going Trump. And you only want to give that person the power if you want people to have that power in perpetuity, not just because you agree with whoever has that power right now. And that's where legislators come in. We can do all of the stuff that Trump wants to do. You just have to include Congress. And the fact is that that's a big problem, right? Because Congress, even controlled by Republicans throughout, is not able to get that done because there's not broad enough support. So I appreciated that one. And that was from the Gorsuch opinion to go with the Roberts opinion as well. And I found those words insightful because, yeah, I imagine if it was another man or woman that the president's supporters did not agree with, if it was Joe Biden out there trying to enact tariffs on an auto industry because he believed that electric vehicles, and this is one of the examples they made in the oral arguments, which I found so profound, okay, is that there's a number of things that a variety of presidents could have for their apparatus and MO. And would you, if you support these tariffs, support the right of President Biden to declare an IEEPA emergency and put tariffs on whatever he wanted just because he believed electric vehicles were the future of the world? I think you'd probably question whether the president had the ability to do that if it was Biden doing it for electric vehicles. Would he have that right? And that's where we are. Yeah, that is where we are. So, if I encourage you to think that, don't think that we can't run a country by running it through Congress, folks. Okay? We can run a country by running it through Congress. Okay? And Darth, I love you, brother, out there, but all you got is questions. And all you want to say is, what does the Supreme Court say? And the Supreme Court's answered. And somehow everyone's got the questions, and the president's making personal attacks on the Supreme Court and saying that they're going to disappoint their families. And in reality, folks, okay, it's not an emergency in perpetuity. And that was the message that was being pushed there, and the Supreme Court wasn't comfortable with it, probably because they were forward-looking enough to realize that Trump's not always going to be the guy that's running the show. And you got to make sure you give the president the rights that go with any president, regardless of whether you agree with him or not. And the ability for any president at any point in time, you had the Canada ad out there, right? Canada makes an ad, runs it in the World Series, tariffs for you. That's a tough way to run a country in perpetuity when you're talking about taxes that do shift onto consumers, folks. And you can make the case that not 100% do, but you better believe it, okay? So, the Supreme – and, hey, it's quite an act, folks, when the president can rail against a Supreme Court when even his members tell him 2-1, okay? 2-1. That is not constitutional, Mr. President. Thank you for putting me on the court, but even your own Supreme Court justices say that one. All right, let's jump over to IBRX for our Den members. Rocking and rolling. They got earnings this morning. Congrats to you, Den members. Dan, all you out there. Great trade so far. And, yeah, I imagine you're going to have some volatility, folks. If you're watching this on Tiger TV, okay, this thing just traded from $1.79 to $10.28. So be careful out there, okay? But, boy, yeah, how about that one? Great trades for you, Tigers and Tigresses out there. And, folks, I appreciate all you in the Tigers Den, okay? And, yeah, it's a wisdom of crowds in the Den, folks. If you're not in the Tigers Den, get in there. I'm learning every single day, man. I'm watching in there left and right for trading ideas, and I'm taking trading ideas from the Den as well. So I appreciate all the contributions. Mike out there in the Den giving us a weekend of entertainment in that Den. Mike, always delivering. Appreciate all that content you're sharing in there in that Tigers Den. All right, we got markets clawing it all back. Look at this. S&P up by 4, Dow up by 30, NASDAQ off by 55. And, yeah, we got NVIDIA earnings coming out today. Excuse me, Wednesday. NVIDIA Wednesday, this week I meant to say. Hey, look at this. Yeah, they're getting ready. Getting ready for the main event. NVIDIA up by 1.6%. As I said, we've been consolidating for like 7 months. Look at this. Quite a range, too. You're talking about almost $20 range. You got a little bit above there in the highs of November. NVIDIA, we're just getting above there right now. NVIDIA. And look at the volume. All right, check this out. We put it on a weekly. Okay. We've had decent volume on NVIDIA. We're coming back. Taking a look at the tech stocks, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the Opening Call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, You choose the direction. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to direction.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at direction.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. And yeah, we got a two-way open even. 20 points up, 20 points down. As I said, folks, we got market volatility in both directions right now. Keep those fingers quick as we got volatility, markets back in the red. And the day is young, as our man Basil Chapman would say. S&P's off by 13 right now. All right, taking a look at a couple stocks for our Tigers in the den. CoreWeave. Now, we got some action going today after quite the slide on Friday, man. From 98 to 84, you're catching a bid today. Now, this thing, do they have earnings this week? They may. They were saying maybe on Wednesday. Let's check it out, though. That was some selling with volume. Look at that volume we got on Friday. We take a look at this thing on a weekly. Okay, we got a nice sign of strength January 12th. We had a nice sign of strength. That was options expiration December 15th. But boy, no real action since their last earnings in November. And, you know, what has my guard up on this one, folks, is if you remember when this thing went public about a year ago, can't believe it's a year ago, okay? They were really struggling to push this thing out for an IPO. And the way they saved it was NVIDIA stepped in with a guaranteed bid. Okay, again, a circulatory nature saves the day. You end up accelerating with the AI acceleration up to 187. But one of the things that they were looking at, right, when this thing was going public was the fact that they had many of their AI server chips were just a little bit older and ready to refurbish, right? They were going to have to spend a lot of CapEx in the coming years to catch up with the best chips out there. And so when I see this thing and I say nobody would buy this thing when it was going IPO at 40 a year ago, right? Now we know 187 was misplaced and we know the circulatory nature of things. And so I'm always got my spikes up on this one in particular because think about it. Everybody likes to stay private right now if they can. Now, that might change with the demise of Blue Owl and private equity. I kid, it's not demise, but it could. But when they were pushing that out, I was saying, man, if they were having trouble pushing this out to the public, why'd they even do it, right? Why didn't they just stay private? And the reason would be, and I'm trying to pull this down to the market cap here, we're talking about a company worth $47 billion right now, okay? But they pushed it out around 30 or 40 bucks. So you weren't quite at that level. But the best time to push out a company to go public, folks, right, is when you've reached your max profit area and maybe you're at an area where you've spent a little and now you have to ramp up the spending, right? The last thing you want to do is try and go public when you have to ramp up spending and it's going to hurt earnings. No. So what do? They say, you know what? We're going to have to refurbish all these chips coming soon. Maybe what I should do is maybe I should push it out to the public and then we raise the money to spend all the money we're going to need to refurbish some of our chips. And I am generalizing, folks. Okay, look into it yourself for the fundamentals of the chips they're dealing with. But this is some of the articles. This was the gist of what happened when they went public, where they could barely push this thing out to the public before NVIDIA stepped in. And so I always look at that and I say, man, this is a $50 billion company, okay, and they have a valuation issue when you talk about the amount of money they're going to have to spend and when earnings are going to translate to that. Volume-wise, I'd like to see a sign of strength where you break above this area that we traded at in earnings. On a weekly basis, you're talking about a high out here of 110 on 257 million shares. Now, we got earnings this week, so that could do it. Okay, let's take a look at the monthly for a second. Yeah, hanging out there. You take a look at the daily. So that's the tough part here. You got this collapse during their earnings on volume, and you're now trading into that area, and not a great start to Friday when you ripped lower with massive volume selling on Friday. So I'd be careful of that one. It's a volatile equity, so trading it, but I would not be parking money there and forgetting about it, because that is a particularly volatile equity. And there is nothing saying that thing can't go back and test like $40, man. Okay, that was a disaster of an IPO. You should not have to have NVIDIA step in and save your IPO a year ago. A year ago, folks, AI was already rocking. Okay, now you really took off after that, but nonetheless, the point is made. All right, and staying with AI, let's check out Oracle. Yeah, we got problems in Oracle land, man. Okay, don't set it and forget it on this one either. Now listen, I like the potential for this one on a longer term, but you are dealing with a very high risk-reward ratio on this equity, man. And all you got to do is know that you're talking about trading back right now at 141. We're back to where we were in July of 2024, and I don't like the volume profile on this at all, right? When you see this ramp up all year, this is how you trade lower on quality volume, folks, okay? Every week you trade lower, there's more people selling. Right? When I was writing the Gold Report this week, put out a new issue of the Gold Report this morning. If you want to check it out, folks, head on over to the front page of TFNN. All newsletters at TFNN come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And on a lot of those gold equities right now, what's going on is, since we had that pullback in gold, okay, and silver and metals, right, the week of January 26th, what you've seen is the price of gold and many of the equities continuing to go up on lighter volume. And I'd have to go through the report to know which one, but kind of an example of this one, right? Like AEM, you got the pullback January 26th, and then every week you trade higher, you do it on lighter volume. And then what do is last week on a shortened trading week where you do 9 million shares, you break higher to all-time highs above 21 million shares. That's not doing it, man. And that's all over the metals market right now. Now, on the flip side of that, that's quality volume to the downside. Okay, you catch a bid. Now, no volume last week in this equity. It's going to be an important week for Oracle when you got NVIDIA earnings. So get ready for the roller coaster. And, on a trade like this, folks, okay, if you're looking to get into this equity, but you don't want to set it and forget it, put a stop in there. All right, and where are you going to put a stop? The nice, easy technical area is if you trade below the April lows, the tariff lows, and what does that say? That says you're really in trouble, man. You just gave up $200 in Oracle from 345 to 141 right now, and you got the tariff lows sitting out here. You are in the April 7th bar right now. You're in there. The high was 140.59. You hit 135 this month, and we just hit 141.41. So, you want to take a flyer on this thing? Yeah, I think it's a good equity to take a flyer on. I think Mr. Ellison's going to do just fine once he gets his ducks in order. Okay. But the volume doesn't say so, man. Doesn't say so at all. You got volume on their last earnings. You have accelerating volume down to the lows of 135. And yeah, no reprieve whatsoever. All right, let's check out some of those drug companies. Lilly up by 3.3% today on their news. You jump over to Novo, off by 15%, man. Look at that. Watch out. Jump back to metals. Gold up $135. It'd be nice to see a little bit more volume come back into this market, folks. Okay, that's the dicey thing going on right now. These last 2 weeks, they got me a little worried. 620,000 contracts and 466,000 contracts. Okay, that was not a holiday week, the week of February 9th. Yes, that was last week. But boy, you're talking about over 9 trading days, folks, doing just over 1 million contracts. Look how often we did over 1 million contracts in 5 trading days. And thanks for those questions in the Tiger's Den. I appreciate it. Oracle, CoreWeave, 2 great stocks, volatile. But yeah, we'll see. NVIDIA, going to be an important week for both of them with NVIDIA earnings. So get ready for the roller coaster, folks. Got two-way market right now. The VIX, 2015. Coming right back, folks. One more segment.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. S&P is negative by 24 points right now, trading at 68.99. And just jumping back to that CoreWeave, because I wanted to pull it up myself. I was trying to remember. This is an article going back to March of 2025, folks, okay? And taking a look at it, you jump over to CoreWeave for a second. And this is going on everywhere in AI, but this is where they went IPO, okay? March, there it is on a weekly basis. This thing IPOs. Now, they IPO'd at $40. Okay, this thing could not even trade above $30 to $40 when you're at some price level there, as in it was struggling. And they went IPO at $40, and they had to have NVIDIA buy $250 million of the shares at the IPO price to shore up before they could even push it out. They raised $1.5 billion But NVIDIA alone was 250 million of that. Okay? CoreWeave leases data centers to companies needing compute. 250,000 NVIDIA chips it has purchased, as I mentioned. One issue is that many of those chips are from the Hopper generation. But guess what? Hopper ain't nothing, man. You got Blackwell, and then you're going to got Rubin. And they got 250,000 of Hopper. Now, they're not useless, but you get the point. Okay? And yeah, so you're talking about, think about it, folks. Back there, a year ago, less than a year ago, nobody wanted to buy CoreWeave at $40, so NVIDIA had to step in and spend $250 million. So it's one of those things that you're going to deal with. Doesn't mean the stock's going back there, but keep that on your radar. And when I see that, I said, I remember, I said, man, that's pretty intense, right? NVIDIA already owned a big chunk of that company when they went public. So $250 million is nothing to that company when somehow you shore up. Imagine it, right? NVIDIA puts $250 million in that company, which is nothing for NVIDIA. And meanwhile, now the company goes IPO, they raise $1.5 billion, and NVIDIA does it. Hey, NVIDIA earnings this week, and we're catching a bid today in a red market. NVIDIA up by 1.6%. Folks, thanks so much for kicking off your Monday right here with me on the Morning Market Kickoff. Couldn't appreciate it more. I love this hour, folks. Appreciate you being here. Couldn't do it without you. Folks, stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman. He's growling and prowling in the Tiger's Den. He's coming up next. I'll see you at 3 o'clock, folks. Have a great day. Thanks so much.